The Mitchells vs. the Machines is the newest animated movie from the Lord Miller team that brought about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and the Lego Movie and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. And this time with Michael Rianda as the director. But this movie is about a dysfunctional family who decides to take their daughter Katie on a last-minute road trip to college instead of her flying there because they want to spend a couple more days with her before she goes off into her adult life. So this is a movie, of course, about family dynamics, kind of a coming-of-age movie too, with the twist of a robot uprising brought about by an Alexa-type AI system. So everything connected to this specific company or the internet in general is now controlled by this one entity. And the Mitchells have to find a way to save the world. Hence, the Mitchells versus the Machines. Now, I deeply enjoyed this movie. I was interested in seeing what this would be like ever since they kind of released the first look at this movie, and it did not let down. For being a follow-up to Into the Spider-Verse, which has been obviously very, very, very well received by about everybody. It's a hard thing to do, and they do a good job of following up that movie. Is it better than that? No, but it is one of the best movies that this team has come up with so far. Much like the Lego Movie and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, this movie leans a lot towards the comedy of the situation, and in this movie almost more so than the rest, it works so much more often than I expected it to. I legitimately found myself laughing at a lot of stuff in this movie. There's some very silly stuff, of course, stuff for kids and for everybody to enjoy, but there's some legitimately hysterical moments in this movie that I really enjoyed. And to just keep going over what I like about this movie, the animation style is incredible to look at. Obviously Pixar especially has been the studio that's really leaned into creating photorealistic environments, and I like that Sony Pictures has kind of leaned more into the creative aspects of animation and made things that basically couldn't be done in another form. It couldn't be done through another medium. It has to be done almost strictly through animation. Like, this movie has a very distinct style where it almost looks like it's hand-drawn 2D animation but in a 3D form. It kind of reminds me of the Netflix movie Klaus that came out, but a little bit more well-rounded in a 3D environment. But the animation is a lot of fun to look at. It's very vibrant, it's very colorful, and it's very in your face with the animation, but it's also done so well that it's very, very fun to look at, and it's entertaining all the way through the movie. You can tell that they're having a lot of fun making this movie, and when you can sense that feeling of fun that the creators had making this movie, it makes it all that better. And I feel like you can legitimately feel that watching this movie, along with, there's a lot of heart in this movie. It's obviously about family, kind of learning about your own family and what they sacrifice for you and stuff like that. So it's messages that we've seen in kids' movies especially before, but it's done well this time around, even though it might feel a little familiar at times. But this movie is all around done very, very well. The direction is very fun. It's paced very, very well. The movie goes by really quickly. It's really well structured too. The voice acting especially is amazing. It's hysterical. Everybody is just top notch in their roles, and I think that's something that the Lord and Miller team does very, very well with these movies, because you have people who usually are more comedic actors, but they also get really, really good voice performances out of these, kind of like how Chris Pratt in Lego Movie or Bill Hader and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. This time they have like Danny McBride and Maya Rudolph this time around, along with some other comedic actors, of course. Like I said, this movie is written well, it's well structured. I really don't have many problems with it, other than some of it does feel kind of familiar. The storyline of the machines and everything going against them feels kind of generic. You do have Olivia Colman voicing the AI that's trying to take over the world, which is a lot of fun to have her in that role. She does a good job bringing some liveliness to that. But it does feel a little generic in comparison with some of the other animated movies like this. But it also does a decent job of being a little on the nose with some of its jokes and general message about like screen time and all this connected stuff, but it also doesn't feel like it's some 50-something-year-old comedian yelling about millennials, which I was scared that might be what they were going to go into with a movie that has a message like this. But it ends up being more about the family and everything, which I think is good that they leaned into that instead. And generally, it is a very well-rounded movie, a very well-made animated movie. I'll probably see myself watching this again fairly soon. Even though there is some genericness and familiarity with some of the writing and the story, the general story itself might be a little generic, but the writing is done well enough where it doesn't really detract from that. And the movie, like I said, is hilarious. I found it funnier than a lot of just regular comedies that have come out in recent memory. And the movie is super entertaining to look at. I'm sure much like Into the Spider-Verse, there's going to be people who break it down frame by frame and find all these hidden Easter eggs and gems throughout the movie, which are a lot of fun to see, and you can kind of catch that throughout watching this. But I'm going to be rating The Mitchells vs. the Machines an 8.5 out of 10. I had a lot of fun watching this movie. Did you guys see it? What did you think of it? Let me know, and I'll be back with another video.